We bought this transmission off Facebook Marketplace for $50. Let's see if it was worth it, or let's see if we wasted our time. But first, let's take a behind-the-scenes look on our trip to Morganton, North Carolina to pick up these cores. We live in an era drowning in data, yet most remain ignorant. Fake experts dress empty ideas in complex language, not to clarify it, but to obscure it. Here, we cut through the noise. Every insight is battle-tested, earned through risk, and refined by results. Clarity demands discipline, focus, and the courage to face what's real. We don't deal in shortcuts or slogans. We show you how the system works and how to master it. This is FSP Transmissions. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the FSP Transmissions YouTube channel. We're on the road today to Morganton, North Carolina to go pick up, I think 10? 10. I think 10? He 10. May have more, I'm not 100% sure. Turbo 350s and Turbo 400s. So I'm running low on cores because we've sold so much this year, and you guys have been calling, we've been producing. So we're actually going to be driving down through Bat Cave, North Carolina and Chimney Rock, North Carolina, where Hurricane Helene came through and destroyed. So Cody's going to try to get some footage down there of that today as we drive through, and just try to get you guys some behind the scenes content on the YouTube channel. All these GoPros are working freaking fantastic for us, and we're just trying to record as much as we can to get as much content out there for you guys as possible. So we'll jump back in a second when we get down the mountain, but yeah, I hope you enjoy today's video. That is. That used to be. You don't have to hold it up there. It's alright, you're good. Look at that. It's closed. Gone. There's not even a road here anymore.
It says it's closed right now, by the way, for 7.
Lucky to be alive. This all had Airbnbs too, over here, all of it. All of this got washed away. The road's gone here. This is how high the freaking water got, 28 feet. I mean, gone, all of it. Chuck, about to fall off the damn face of the earth over here. Look at that. Where did it come, you know? Like, you think about it. It's just like all this is washed out, clean, all of it. This used to be thick trees, and it's just, there's nothing. It's left barren. Bro. I didn't even know there was a river there, and look at that.
Yeah, that is amazing. Little update for you guys. There was a road closure. And so we don't know where we're going.
I've never been this way.
So we're on an adventure.
I've never been this way. We're up a mountain right now.
We're going straight up in the
No
air.
GPS.
No service.
No
so
service.
There is no way to figure out how to do it. So I guess we'll see where the backside of this mountain comes out at sometime. It's a nice little area. Oh, hello. Goats and a sheep, cow.
This happened 6 months ago.
Yeah.
This is 6 months ago.
It still looks like
It
this.
still looks like just hell. Like it just, I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
Every bit of this was underwater, and we're up. We just climbed a mountain,
Yeah.
and so all of this was at an elevated state and fell down into Lake Lure and Chimney Rock. That's exactly why it's so bad, because all of this just, it collected all of that water and dumped it right down onto Lake Lure. Is what I would say anyway.
Yeah.
It's just like, dude, we're so lucky to be alive. So lucky. The damn Station 23 is lucky to be standing too.
Wonder what this is all about.
The boulders on the side of the road. Oh my God.
What do you mean?
Look at that,
Yeah. Wonder why this is here. Oh yeah. We're on a random dirt road cutting across the mountain, I think.
Never been out here in my life. Felt like going over the rumble strips on the freaking highway.
But yeah. We made it to the other side of the mountain. Now we gotta cross another mountain ridge, I reckon. And then we'll be heading over towards Morganton.
Yeah, I don't know where this is leading. My service is a little choppy. Kind of like this road.
I have silver web.
Oh
God, he smell. Why does it smell so hot?
God, it smells like burnt tranny fluid. Ugh. Ain't nice, is it?
We officially made it back to I-40.
That was a wild ride.
It was.
Saw a lot of carnage. There's still carnage all around us here.
Oh gosh.
All these rocks stuck in our tires, about to put out somebody's windshield. leave a damn spider print on their windshield.
So we're heading to Morganton.
Yeah, we're gonna go pick up some cores and probably take the interstate on the way back just to be safe, because I don't really want to be driving over the mountain with an extra 1,000 pounds in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we got about 40 minutes left and we'll get there and we'll see you guys there. All right, guys, we made it to Morganton. As you can see, we're picking up some cores out here today. We've got a bunch of 350s and a bunch of 400s that this kind gentleman's gonna let us have in return for me building him a turbo 400. So it just pays to build good relationships, and it pays to just be a good person, and you never know what kind of blessings are going to come your way. But I know a lot of this might look like just bare scrap metal to you, but when you ask me, I see money. I see bills paid, I see employees paid, and I see happy days ahead when I see cores like this, because they're getting really hard to find. So we got these here, and we've got a couple more over on the other side we're going to pick up, and then we're going to make our way back to Hendersonville. And here's 4 more that we're getting. All of these are turbo 400s here on the 3, and then over here, here's another VTO 350. It does have a broken case, but we're going to put it into a Chevrolet case. And this one was one of his family members' transmissions. So we're going to pick up these 4 and get them loaded up. It's hot and I love it. You wore out yet?
That's pretty, that's a lot of work, but that's money.
That's money. Well, you can just see a tire there, but I mean, you just watch this thing load them all up. So a very kind gentleman, and I'm happy to have friends like that.
It's just another example of one man's trash is another man's treasure. Don't count anything for granted, man. Sometimes you find something that just looks like junk to somebody. Look at this guy, for example. Takes all these ratted out junk cars, gets them running, sells them, gets rid of them, just puts them back to work, puts them back on the road where they belong.
I think we may be stuck. Good thing we got the extra weight in the back. And we're in the drought of 25 right now, so yeah. I'm thankful for that. He looks like he had some trees fall too over here.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, it's this was a fantastic experience, and you guys really need to stay tuned to see what these cores end up looking like when we start turning into them.
Yeah, because I mean the thing is even, I mean, I priced it out. I priced it out at $875 for all of them. Just because there was a lockup in there, and a couple of them had some broken cases. But he offered, he's like, man, you know, if you could build me a 400 and bring it back to me, I'll just let you have them all. And I mean, that's just a total blessing, dude. No money out of pocket.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, truth be known,
no skin off anybody's back.
No skin off anybody's back. And I just like doing business like that. It just goes to show you treat people with respect. You come over one time, you pay them what they're asking for it, and eventually they call you back because you did a good thing for them, yeah. You know? Because before I came over here, I think it was about a year ago, and about this time, I think, and bought 10 off of him, and all those cores were good. And now he's calling me saying he's got more.
Yeah.
And he wants so-and-so a piece for him, and what he was asking a piece was very fair.
Yeah, yeah.
And with him, for him to be like, no man, just build me a BPO 400 and call it a day, oh, it's fantastic. That's an absolute win, bro.
The importance of building working relationships with other people in your field.
That's it, man. That's what these guys need to understand watching the video is that just being consistent with it, being kind-hearted gets you a long way. Being an honest, stand-up guy gets you so far in life. That's why you're not out here snaking nobody.
Yep.
You're not out here trying to take advantage of nobody.
Yep.
God favors those who try. All right, guys. Today we have a Chevrolet Turbo 400. I paid $50 for this, and the reason that I paid $50 for it was because this case right here, it's broken right here. One of these eyelets. So we got it on a discount, and typically these cores go from anywhere from $150 to $400 now. They're getting pretty rare to find, and so I'm going to give you just a couple ideas and rundown of what these 400s consist of, how they're different from like a Turbo 350 and stuff like that. So let's get into it. First thing here is your speedometer is built into the case. On your Turbo 350s and on your 700s and stuff like that, the speedometer is on the tail housing there, but this one is inside of the case. So you got your little clip there and your 10mm bolt. I gotta get a basket here real quick. Hang on. And you don't want to put the vice grips on the threads because you can damage those aluminum threads. But this is your speedometer here, and these have a big gear on here. If these things leak, there's a little circlip in here, and it pulls out like this. And I change all these seals out. Now you can see the circlip there, little clip that holds the seal in. All these seals come in the overhaul kit. Oh yeah, dude, just spray me with Taco Bell diarrhea. That's wonderful. All right, these tail housings are a little bit different. These are 9/16, and there's a gasket under here. All right, we're going to take those top 4 off, and then we'll get the bottom ones here in a second. I'm going to pull this forward and get this mounting transmission mount off here. Okay, I can go right in the scrapper. Here's our other 2 here. All right. Your tail housing comes off there. And then here's your gasket. I don't know if this is going to come off or not. This thing's older than Methuselah. So now we're just going to have to probably put that in the washer and extract that off. You got to push that down and pull out at the same time. Very weird clip. It almost looks like it's broken. You can see that. This little thing just retains the gear on there. Let's the shaft seal off here. That thing's dry rotted. And there's your speedometer gear. And that just sits in there just like this, inside of this little groove right there. That sits in there just like that, and it keeps it from moving.
Well, it still turns.
At least it still turns. In play feels about right, so we'll keep that in mind. I'm going to cut this bell housing off, not in the video. I'm going to cut this bell housing off and use this case for a trans brake. Now this is a little bit different here too. This is your governor cap on your 350s, 700s, and stuff like that. It has an actual cap, and this one has a cover with 4 bolts. These are 1/2 inch. This is loose. Somebody. Oh no, it's still in there.
I thought somebody robbed
my governor already. There's our governor. That gear looks like it's a bit old and worn out, probably dry rotted. Couple shadow marks there on the governor. We want to make sure that this internal valve works and it moves up and down with gravity, and that works good. I want to remove that gear right there and put a new one on it. And this is your cover here, and this has a gasket on it. It's dry rotted as hell. Who knows how long this thing's been sitting outside, but you got to make sure you put that gasket back on there or this transmission will leak. Now moving on over here to our clip. This is for your modulator. And pull that old thing off there. Now there's a modulator stem in here, little valve. Got to pull out of there as well. And there's your modulator stem. It only goes in there one way. Throw that modulator away. All right, let's flip this thing over. The fluid looks pretty rough there, bud.
Pretty poopy.
Looks pretty poopy.
That looks like Taco Bell.
Sloppo Bell. Looks pretty poopy, bud. Let's see here. Well, seems like it's pretty dry. It does have a deep pan on here, so that's good. Somebody's been in here before because I can see some silicone sticking out of the side. I'm sure it was leaking at some point in time, and some hillbilly thought it was a great idea just to let's put some silicone on it, boys, and let's not pay $6 for a pan gasket. Very good. All right. Oh man, we have got some freaking friction material down in here. There's a snail right there too. He's hanging out in there. Gary, where you at, Gary? But yeah, this thing's covered in freaking friction material. So I'm sure that we're gonna have a burnt up clutch pack here. Now this filter sits on here a little wonky like this, but it's supposed to be like this. It's supposed to fit in the bottom of the pan. This bolt right here is special. Somebody's put a washer on there, which is fine. But this is a special bolt, and you have to have this spacer right here as well for that to work properly. If not, it can suck air and starve the transmission for fluid. You can pull the filter off here. I'm sure that's going to be caked. Oh yeah, that's poopy. Now this spout right here is specifically made for that pan. When I go back in, I put 2 O-rings on this to make sure that seals up. And one side says filter, one side says case. And that's how you know what way it goes into the end of the transmission. So here's our valve body here. And these tubes running down are for your governor. These are your governor feed tubes. And then you've got your parking bracket here. You've got your detent spring here. And this is for your passing gear. This is a solenoid-based passing gear. It's not like a 350 it's a detent valve and a cable. This works off of an electrical current there. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull all of these bolts off the valve body. See the 1/2 inches first, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 7/16. Look at that. This thing had a major bowel movement. Freaking disgusting. This thing was burnt to a crisp. All right, sometimes these governor lines can be a little finicky, so I take a screwdriver in here and I can pry back on them just like that. And go ahead and take these things out with your valve body. Oh, somebody's put a performance plate in there, performance black plate. So we're gonna remove these, flip this over, and it looks like our, oh, not the worst I've ever seen. Not the worst I've ever seen there. This thing's got hot though. You can tell when a transmission gets hot because these gaskets are super brittle. I know this thing's been sitting outside. It's probably, you know,
probably had water in it.
Typically, if it has water in it, they seal to the valve body. So, you know, I don't know if it's got any water damage or not. It's been outside, so it probably has some.
It's not rusty though.
We'll, yeah, exactly. We'll wash this valve body and inspect that later. This is for your lower band here. This cover. These are 1/2 inch. This cover pops up like this, and there's a little metal gasket that goes under it. And sometimes you have to take a little hammer and tap on this. There it comes. And you want to take all this apart and inspect this. A lot of times this part right here can be wallered out. You need to replace this seal here. Same thing here. You need to replace these rings. These rings go bad over time. But all that, I just set it all together like this. And you should too. That way you know how it goes back together. No problem. Pretty self-explanatory there. It's parking prowl, or parking bracket off here, if you will. Now this spring comes off on a 400, on the 350s and 4L60s and stuff like that. That spring stays on there, but that one comes off. So just watch that. Let's pull our passing gear solenoid off here. And there is a little O-ring right here you need to replace. If you're making sure this is factory, if you're doing a full manual, this doesn't matter. But make sure you replace that. And I'm not sure how you test these, but find a way to test it. Now we've got a Transgo plate here. This is for a performance build. That pops off there like that, and this is a black plate. Some of these holes are a little bit bigger for a firmer second or firmer shift going into third. That's a good piece to have. So we're off to a great start. That plate by itself and that kit is probably 50 or 60 bucks. So we're already off to a good start. And we don't have a stuck valve body gasket. That's very nice. Typically they stick to that. That's good. Now these check balls, I don't put all of these back in. I only put this one in and this one in. So only two go back into a Turbo 400. One in the bathtub and one right here in the middle. This little hole right here. So this one goes back in. And if I can get it out of there. And this one goes back in. All right, now this is for your upper band here, for your direct drum. And that goes in there just like that. You got to be careful on, you need to check your book for reference, because some of these have like teeth, little prongs that stick up. Sometimes this accumulator, or this, I believe this would still be an accumulator or a servo, whichever one you want to call it, because it does apply a band here. This right here has teeth on it, and this one doesn't. Sometimes this is flat, and this has teeth on it. So you just want to cross-reference and make sure what you're working on, is original. I'm not up to date on all of my years. I don't know as much about a 400 as I do about a 350, so bear with me on that. Okay, up here on your rooster comb, it is held in place by this finish nail. And this finish nail is from factory. This finish nail has to go back in there, or this thing can just move back and forth. And it can fall off that detent spring, and then it can pick whatever gear it wants to go in. And that's never fun. So we're going to pull this nut off. And then once we remove the pump, we can take out that finish nail. All right, these pump bolts are 1/2 inch. Now you really need a pump puller for this, but I'm gonna try my luck here. And we got lucky today. A lot of times these things will be rusted into the case and you can't just get them out by popping them like that. You have to have a pump puller to pull that out, but we got lucky today. There's some rust on it. I was like, there's no O-ring on the input shaft. It looks like it was just getting hung on this landing right here. There's probably some rust down in this pump here. This is your forward drum. We're gonna flip that over. And let's go ahead and take this pump apart. This is your washer here. I just leave that on while I wash it. See if we can get this gasket off. That's about as good as it's gonna get. Look at that. Don't have anything there. You can still see the stock cross hatches there. There's one very small line there, but I think it's just a line, just a shadow line where that inner gear was rotating. None of this feels bad. I don't feel anything whatsoever with my seal pick. I'll take some Scotch-Brite and brighten that up. So already, this Turbo 400 is worth the $50 spent just based off this pump alone. And that's just a winner. That's a winner. You don't ever get this lucky with the dang 350 these days, I swear.
No.
But these 400s, man, even this being a Chevrolet like this, we got lucky right there. There's nothing there, so that's good. Check out our gear body here. Looks like this has been installed once here. You can see that the converter was seated properly with the line here. That was seated all the way in, right up to that point right there. So that's really good. Whoever had this in their vehicle was doing their proper upkeep. And this is looks like a hardened, it's a hardened pump gear there. It looks like it's starting to peel the black off of it. That's when you got to change these. You can still see some shadow lines there, but none of this is rough. I don't see any marks in the bottom of this gear body whatsoever here. I don't see any marks on the side where the pump gear rides. Even that bushing in there doesn't look too bad. I've seen them flipping blown out of there before. So we're already off to an absolute fantastic start on our Turbo 400. I'm tickled pink as of right now. I'm tickled purple, actually. All right, this is our forward drum. Now, a Turbo 400 is inverted from a Turbo 350, so our forward drum here is on the top. And as you can see, our clutch pack is exposed here for our direct drum. Here's a Turbo 350 drum. Now this is your Turbo 350 forward drum. And your shaft comes out of here just like this, and then your direct drum sits on top of it and goes down in your transmission case, and your pump sits on top of your direct drum. With this, your direct drum is on your center support, and your center support acts as the pump stator within this transmission. Okay, and then this right here is just an inverted style. That's all this is. So where this would sit on top like this sits down into the transmission like that, if that makes any sense. I know it's hard to wrap your head around first time by, but we want to make sure to get this washer off here, not to lose this. That'll eat your lunch. You got to make sure you keep that somewhere very safe. Now we've got a snap ring around here. That's going to pull this top plate off. And there's our upper friction here. And now this hub right here sits around those frictions. And there is another, this one's brass. Just throw your seal pick at your feet, Tyler. Idiot. This is a brass one. Now these are the same size but that brass one needs to go back in. See how that's about the exact same damn size? So you can put that on there and be like, oh yeah, that'll ride. That's a little bit loose, but I mean, somebody can make the mistake and put that on there. That brass one needs to go back down in there with that. You cannot get those switched up. There's our hub. There's our top plate here. Friction. Set that over to the side there. Now on a Turbo 400, you can see that this is a wavy. You see that wavy there. So this wavy goes directly against this clutch. It's a very odd design. You would never expect a wavy, something that's, you know, beveled like that, to go against a clutch, but it does. And we can see here these things have got some they've got some life on them, but they're not completely obliterated. So I'm going to keep these steels for a rainy day, just in case I have to adjust my clutch clearance one day. And we're going to go over to the so this is a later version. This has got a metal piston in the bottom. The early 400s had a aluminum piston like a Turbo 350. So you've got a snap ring in here. This is just like any other drum. You need to push this down just like so. Oop. Did it get you in the mouth?
No, I caught it.
All right, so here's our spring perch plate here. Here's our springs. Excuse me. And your piston comes out just like this. Now coming out, you can grab this and just slide this direct drum out. But going back in, you need to set your clutch clearance on your table. So go ahead and stack up your clutches, get your clearance right, and remove your clutches. That way you can get around this spring perch and seat this properly, because it's got to go into this intermediate clutch pack down here, and this can be super hard to line up if you only got that to grab on. So leave your clutches out, install this into your intermediate clutch pack, and then restack this up outside of that. And these look like they've seen their better days. But they don't look as bad as I thought they would. They've got some poop juice all over them, but these don't look bad at all. I can keep these steels for a rainy day for one of my applications, but they did go back in with a 5-clutch piston in that direct drum too, so that's good. But again, nice. So somebody has taken out the wavy, and they put a flat steel disc in here for a firmer third gear, so that's free. There she goes. And same thing here, just remove your springs. And remove your piston. The direct drum is the one that I removed this lip in. This makes it for a firmer third gear. So, there's that. We're going to flip this over, and let's pull our snap ring off the top and see what kind of sprag we're working with here. Remove this top plate. There's your race, and there's your sprag. And as you can see, your elements are flying right out of this thing. So our intermediate sprag here has left the chat, and it's broken that spring there. This is not reusable. And I'm going to go back in, and I like to use the one that are round, and you can put a 36 element sprag on there. That's what I put on all of my heavy duty builds. All right, now we can remove our band here. There's your upper band. There's an anchor right here that you can see sticking out of the case. That's what that's got to go back into. Now, let's get our snap ring out. There's your snap ring. This is a square snap ring. There's no direction to that. And here's our intermediate clutch pack. And they put a flat in the bottom, nice. So second gear was nice and firm. There's your top plate there. These frictions don't look bad. You can still see the labeling on them, but Man, I don't know why this thing is so dirty on the inside. These things look freaking great. I don't know why there's so much friction material in the bottom of the pan. These frictions don't look bad at all unless we had a planetary fill in the bottom. That's very odd. I don't know why we've got so much sediment in the bottom of the pan. Now we've got a bolt here, and this is also a feed hole for our center support. Well, my other sockets kick the bucket. You have to have a 12-point 3/8 socket here, and this neck right here has got to be thin enough to fit inside of the case bore and pull this out. And as you can see, you know, you've got 12 points there that you've got to cover. This is not a 6-point, so a 6-point will go in there. You need to make sure you Loctite that too when you put it back in. Okay. Now that we've got our bolt removed for our center support, we need to get in here and see if we can't break this snap ring free. Jacked up. Okay. This snap ring is tapered. Flat end goes down on the center support, and I always try to leave my opening where this opening is to avoid this problem, because if you got to adjust your end play, you don't want to get this thing pent up in there super tight in the corner just like it was where you can't get it back out. You know, I always put the opening where the opening is, and that's just really good practice. Somebody just failed to do that here. Now, what I do here is I'll pull this lower shaft out just like this, and some of these are keyed one way, some of these are not. I always try to align these holes with the lower sun gear in there. Now your center support should come right out. Attach that drum down there. Here's your center support. Now this little thing here, this is super easy to get off normally. There we go. That comes out like that. And you've only got 3 little springs in here that hold this plastic piece in. And then your piston is down to the bottom right here. Just like that. And your seals are on there. A little bit of rust there. We'll clean that up. All right, here's our first planetary here. And this has got our sprag inside of it.
Oh.
There she goes. So our lower sprag is bad as well. And there is it's down there on the output shaft assembly. But you want to check these for play side to side. I can feel a little bit of play in that one and in that one there. So we're going to probably have to discard this planetary. Now, you don't want to lose this right here. These have to go back in here this exact same way. And our other end is right here on our center support. So, this has got to go just like this. With this diameter, you can see the little lip on that. The little lip has got to go inside of the center support like this, and then your roller bearing, and then your other side of your bearing. And this is a 3-piece. So with the internal lip faces that sun gear down in there like this, and then your bearing goes on like that, and just like this. So this is super, super crucial. You cannot get these backwards, or it'll screw you up. Now, we're going to go ahead and pull our whole entire output shaft assembly out. You've got this lube ring right here that you need to take off, and this one's beat the crap up, so we're going to change that out to a new one. Here's your sun gear here. This has got to go back in the same way it came out, with the chamfered side facing down like this, and the flat side facing up towards you. You can see where there's 2 little wide teeth. Now I like to make sure when I put this back in that I'm aligning these holes as good as possible. And you can take a drill bit and drill through that to make sure that you're getting proper lubrication to these gears down here. But, you know, if you put it in here like this, where that's not aligned, you've got a hole here. And I just like to make sure my holes are aligned like that, and I'll take a drill bit and drill that out. And just to make sure I'm getting the proper lubrication. Now you've got a small washer here that goes on top of this planetary setup. And now this right here, you can put a Turbo 350 pump bearing in the bottom of this, but this is your washer for the bottom of your case, and then this one goes on the bottom of your parking gear right there. So you want to make sure that you don't get these, you know, screwed up or lose these. You can't just put that down in the case. This little three prong here has got to go in the case first. Now, let's see if we can. Okay, there's our snap ring. Let's lift this back out, just like this. All right, here's our output shaft. Our output shaft comes out like this. Now, same thing here. When you're putting this back together, this faces down like this, and then you've got this, and then you've got this right here. That way it sits inside of there. If you put it like this, the opposite way, it just rides here, and there's nothing for this. You see how it's got like a little groove on it there? That groove has to sit down inside of there just like that. Not like this, because then this side's going to be against this freaking shaft here, and that is not going to ride right and throw your end play off. So there's your second bearing, and your third one we're about to get to. There's your output shaft there. Now this slides out just like this. And here's your other one. So this one has a little, see how that's flat? The flat end faces down, just like that. You don't want this end here facing down, because that's going to throw you off. That's the wrong way, and it's going to burn the bearing up. It's going to put metal throughout your whole entire transmission. So you got to make sure flat end faces down on this lower shaft here. So you've got three bearings here that you need to make sure go back in there the exact same way that you take them out. And you know, the best way to do that is get an ATSG book and double check what you're doing, because these 400s will eat your lunch if you're not careful. Now, I don't feel anything wrong with this lower planetary here. None of these gears are walking side to side. I still have not identified where all of this sediment came from the bottom of the pan. I'm befuddled right now trying to figure this out, because all of our clutches, none of them are burnt up. None of the clutches are burnt up. I did see some metal in the bottom of this input shaft here, down in here, but I mean, I don't know where the hell that would have come from. Judging by the way that this looks, this right here doesn't look bad at all. Like, the bushing's still okay. There's nothing here. Nothing's, you know, the bearing didn't fail. Man, I'm so confused right now where all of that came from. I guess that doesn't necessarily matter, because at the end of the day, this transmission was 100% worth the $50 spent. I mean, by itself, having a good pump here and having this Transgo separator plate, I mean, that's $50 all day. These pumps are going anywhere from $150 to $250. I guarantee it, on eBay. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's 100% worth the money spent. I just can't figure out where the crap comes from. I don't know where the sediment came from in the bottom of the pan. That is really, really weird. I'm going to pull this bottom band out here and see if I can get this damn thing out of here. And that looks fine too. Bottom band, these things never wear out. That looks fine. The upper band looks fine. All of our clutches, you know, they've got some life on them, but they're not obliterated. And there's nothing within our drums indicating that
something failed.
Where did all of that sediment come from in the bottom of that pan? That is going to be the $1,000,000 question. Oh, one more thing too, is that these Chevrolets have a snap ring right here. I'm just going to leave it in the tranny case, but you can see this snap ring right here. Okay, that is for your center support spacing, and that has got to go back into the Chevrolet case. If you're working with a BPO and some earlier Turbo 400s, they don't use that. The center support just sits right onto the case itself. But I guess because of excessive wear, they ended up putting a snap ring in there. I don't know why. Again, my educational standpoint on a Turbo 400 is nowhere near as good as it is on the Turbo 350. You know, I really just made this video for educational purposes only and for entertainment purposes only, because we spent $50 on a transmission and it turned out to be fantastic. I just don't know where the sediment came from. But, you know, some questions are just left to be unanswered, I guess. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys had just as much fun watching it as we did making it. And keep watching FSP Transmissions. And, you know, we got more stuff coming. We got 48 REs coming. We've got 6L80s coming. We got a lot of stuff we've been working on here. We're going to keep trying to give you guys state-of-the-art content, cutthroat, and no fluff. This is pretty much, it is what it is here. So we'll catch you guys next time. Thank you.